What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Julio Cesar Martinez versus McWilliams Arroyo, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBC Flyweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Friday, November 19th from the SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on DAZN, and to get into both fighters' resumes, Julio Cesar Martinez, fighting out of Mexico, holds a record of 18 wins, 1 defeat with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 3 by BoxRec in the flyweight division. He's also the current WBC Flyweight World Champion. And now to list his one and only defeat, it came by split decision back in his debut, and it was against Joaquin Cruz in a 4-rounder. But not to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Christopher Rosales, a unanimous decision victory over Jay Harris, a knockout victory over Moses Galeros, and he's coming off a knockout victory over Joel Cordova. And now to get into his opponent's resume, McWilliams Arroyo, fighting out of Puerto Rico, holds a record of 21 wins, 4 defeats with 16 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 5 by BoxRec in the flyweight division, and he's also the current interim WBC Flyweight World Champion. And now to list all of his defeats, he has a unanimous decision defeat to Takashi Okada. He also has a split decision defeat to Amnat Ruwenrawang. He has a unanimous decision defeat to Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. And he also has a unanimous decision loss to Kazuto Ioka. But now to list some of his best victories, he has a majority decision win over Carlos Cuadras, and he's coming off a dominant knockout victory which won him his interim title over Abraham Rodriguez. And in my opinion, this fight is going to be really, really competitive, and it's going to be a fun fight between a Mexican and a Puerto Rican fighter. Those two nationalities always make the best fights. I mean, we saw last week Mexico versus Puerto Rico again. Munguia versus Rosado was an excellent fight, and I hope that this one is going to be one. I mean, both their styles should make for a very, very fun fight. Martinez loves to come forward, and he's known for that, where he just takes punches on the chin, just comes forward with his arms down, dominates his opponents. But he's actually facing one of the toughest tests of his career thus far. Current interim champion and real veteran, McWilliams Arroyo. I mean, when they were initially supposed to fight back in February, I believe it was, I can't really remember why Arroyo had to step out of the fight, Martinez had to step out of the fight because that's when Arroyo fought Rodriguez for the interim title instead of Martinez. I forgot how or why Martinez did step out, but I actually thought Martinez should have easily beaten Arroyo, but now, as the months have gone on, I'm starting to think that this fight is going to be really, really competitive, because Arroyo, his style, he does like to come forward a bit. We saw that definitely against Rodriguez in his past fights as well, but I think this fight he'll be a bit more composed compared to his last, and it could definitely cause problems for Martinez, because someone with Martinez's style could easily get exposed by a veteran who takes a punch and who could move around and know how to get it away from punches. I know that Arroyo doesn't have that type of footwork to really get out of the way of every punch, but he's a veteran. He could take a punch, and he knows how to counter, bob and weave, move around a bit. His footwork isn't that great, but he still knows how to move around, and he has good defense. You have to have good defense if you're not getting stopped by some of the best fighters in the world right now. As I listed before, he had a split decision against Ruwenrawang, went the distance with Chocolatito, also went the distance with Ioka. He's fought world-class guys, and this is definitely going to be one of Martinez's stiffest tests of his career thus far, and probably his toughest. And how I see this fight playing out, I think early on Martinez, or throughout the whole fight, Martinez is going to be the one trying to be the bull, trying to be the one coming forward, trying to bully Arroyo on the ropes, push him around a bit, use his forearm a bit here, and just dig him to the body, dig him to the head. And, Martinez, I would expect him to be more rough here because he's fighting a more composed fighter, so he's got to rough him up a bit to get him more panicked in the ring. But Arroyo, as I mentioned before, he's a seasoned veteran, he looked excellent in his last fight, but he was coming forward in that fight, so I wonder how he'll fight here, if he'll come forward, fight at mid-range, try and counter Martinez. It would be very smart to actually fight a mix of all three styles. Some rounds sort of counter Martinez at the right spots in mid-range. Some rounds come forward to Martinez and push him back, which will get a lot of the eyes on him, and then possibly be the one stepping off the back foot, getting out of the way of Martinez's shots, and countering him. And if he fights all three of those styles, which will be very, very hard, might I say, and might be a real tough task, I mean, he could win this fight and be the new champion. But at this point, I think Martinez will win a majority of the rounds based on that come forward style, and I think Arroyo might come forward a bit too much, and I don't see him winning many of the exchanges with the hard-hitting Martinez, and this is Martinez's game. He loves to come forward and throw punches in exchange, so Arroyo sort of has to take him off that game plan and be the one landing single shots. I know single shots aren't usually the terms you would use. You probably want fighters to land in combinations, but in this sort of state, I mean, I think that Arroyo, it'd be very smart for him to counter with single shots, and if he could, land fast combinations, but those single shots could be problems for Martinez if he lets off two hooks, a left and a right, misses, Arroyo counters with a straight down the pipe. That could definitely happen. But when it comes to Martinez, I know I've been talking a lot of how Arroyo could win this fight. I mean, Martinez, he really just has to, as I mentioned earlier, come forward, push on Arroyo with his forearm, get on the inside, land shots to the body, and just really just not be able to make Arroyo breathe. Arroyo, as I mentioned before, might want to come forward a bit because, I mean, we've seen that many times in his fights. He likes to come forward a lot. He likes to fight at mid-range as well, but it could be smart of Arroyo to also be the one on the outside trying to counter Martinez. But Martinez, as we all know, he'll probably be the aggressor, and he'll probably be the one pressuring Arroyo, and I think that's what's going to happen, and I think the judges will sway in favor of Martinez, being that he's the champion, or the world champion, I should say, because Arroyo does hold that interim title as well, and, I mean, he's just the A-side, and Martinez, I could definitely see him winning a lot of those, earlier to mid rounds, maybe even the later rounds as well. Arroyo might have a lot of success early on, like the first 5 rounds actually, because that's when he's going to be the most fresh and landing most of the shots, as opposed to when Martinez is digging to the body. And I don't know how Arroyo will hold up with the body shots later on, but as I mentioned before, if he's able to go the distance with such world-class level opponents, he'll probably be able to hold up to Martinez. So with that being said, I think this fight goes the distance, and I do see Julio Cesar Martinez getting a unanimous decision victory, although it will be close. And I think the judges will score the bout like 116 to 112 twice, if not 115 to 113. So overall, I believe that Julio Cesar Martinez will defeat McWilliams Arroyo by unanimous decision, and once again, the judges will score the bout 116 to 112 twice and 115 to 113. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.